This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Monday. T-minus, my lord. Good evening. Welcome in, Warlord. It's just another day. We've got a lot to get to tonight, and I've got shit to do afterwards, so we probably should get to it quickly. Here is your meme of the day. Honestly think it's kind of doing the McPoyles wrong. Margaret is quite the looker. Quite the looker. How am I supposed to explain the joke to you? Do you not know who the McPoyles are? Okay, well, they're a family that commits a lot of incest and drinks milk. Does that help? God damn it, Warlord. How do you not watch Sunny in Philadelphia? What's wrong with you? It's like the greatest show in the history of television. Do you not have it in Britain? It's too controversial for you Brits? You're shit, Warlord. Everybody up my ass today, as including producer Dave last night on the stream. He was talking shit about me, so I hopped on with him. A basic show. What does that even mean? You've never even seen it. We're going to get started tonight. It is the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
Today marks a bittersweet day in Poland and across the world as we commemorate 80 years since the liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp. More than 1 million of the 6 million Jews who perished during the Holocaust were murdered at the Nazi camp. Auschwitz became a symbol of the atrocities that were committed during World War II. Today, the site is home.
Having weird computer issues today. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Dedicated to preserving the memory of what happened, so nothing like it will ever happen again. I want to bring in CBS News reporter Anna Noriskevich. Anna, what are...
Thought about restarting the computer before we got started, but...
Since the liberation of Auschwitz.
Hi. The commemoration today was all about the last remaining victims. Even though politicians and delegates from more than 60 countries arrived here, it was really all about listening to the accounts of some 56 survivors who came here. In the morning, politicians together with survivors were laying down flowers, and at 4 p.m. local time, the main commemoration event started here in the tent in Auschwitz-Birkenau. And we heard from many survivors who had all one thing in common. They really worried about and said that they worry about that Auschwitz and the history of the Holocaust could be forgotten. So first and foremost, what we have to do is make sure that the atrocities here, the Auschwitz and the Holocaust, is remembered. And what was really interesting was to hear from a grandson from a survivor who said that it's no longer about teaching children about history, but teaching them how to preserve memory.
This year, there is a lot of focus on the remaining survivors. Did we hear from any of them today?
Yes, there's one woman, Lydia Maximovich, who was here when she was 3 years old, separated from her mother and only reuniting with her after 17 years. And she told about the experiments here that were done with her, with the notorious doctor Josef Mengele. She was later adopted by a family, but had to learn everything again, had to learn how to live, how to feel, how to love, how to eat, how to sleep. When she later reunited with her mother, she made sure that what her mother had to endure was being brought to people all over the world, and she was helping to preserve her memory and spread the memories.
Such sharing stories. Anna Noriskevich, thank you.
I'm not sure if she was one of the survivors of Auschwitz, but we do have a interview with a survivor of the Holocaust.
Survivors of Auschwitz marked 80 years since the liberation of that death camp. They warned of rising anti-Semitism in a ceremony today at the site where more than 1 million people, mostly Jews, were murdered by the Nazis. CBS News' Leah Mishkin has the latest.
It's a horror Teresa Regula lived. Taken from her home, her mother executed, and at age 16, sent to a death camp called Auschwitz because she is Jewish. I repressed all such memories. I repressed them as best as I could, says the 96-year-old. But now the terrible memories are flooding back, including the severe pain she experienced having her head shaved. Holocaust survivor Janina Iwanska can still remember the smell of burning bodies and small children being torn away from their mothers. She says the mothers almost ripped the hands of these children off because they did not want to let them go. More than 1.1 million people, mostly Jews, were murdered at Auschwitz, either in the concentration camp's gas chambers or from starvation, disease, and the cold. Now the nearby home of the Nazi who oversaw the death camp is being transformed into the Auschwitz Center on hate, extremism, and radicalization.
My dream, and those of our colleagues, is that every visitor, every fellow, every academic that comes here takes action to fight extremism and anti-Semitism wherever they come from.
The center will focus on research to fight extremism, working to ensure history does not repeat itself. Leah Mishkin, CBS News.
We should note 56 survivors gathered today to commemorate their liberation.
I'd like to read something by Pastor Martin Niemöller. This is a very famous, it's often called a poem, but it is actually not a poem. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. And then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Welcome in, Raiders. We are right now commemorating the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz death camps. Death camp. We heard from a couple of different survivors. And then I wanted to read that excerpt. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with the story I'm getting ready to tell you about. Dr. Phil was in Chicago and got to go on a ride along with ICE agents as they rounded up and detained illegal immigrants.
Well, we just arrived in Chicago, and I'm getting ready to meet with Tom Holman, and we're going to brief what's happening tomorrow, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, go over all the security protocol, because it's a pretty high risk mission that we're going on. This truly is a targeted ICE mission because they're not sweeping neighborhoods like people are trying to imply. I know that because I've been involved in this heading into this. They've identified 270 high-value targets. And what I mean by that is these are known criminals and terrorists.
Like the military vet they detained in, what was it, New Jersey?
We're talking about murderers, child traffickers, child rapists. We're talking about bad actors.
Sounds like you're describing the Trump cabinet.
And since they've been here in the United States, some of these people have 12, 15 arrest, indictments, some convictions in their home countries and here, but yet they're on the streets. And that's who ICE is targeting to bring out of these communities. So we're going after specific targets, not just sweeping neighborhoods and picking up anyone with a tan.
This is called propaganda, by the way. To have Dr. Phil, who has an air of credibility, thanks once again, Oprah. His name is Doctor. He's been on your TV. You feel like you know him. That's exactly why he's the one chosen to do this propaganda for them, and it is fucking disgusting. Here he is actually talking to some of the migrants that they rounded up.
What's your name?
Seda.
Seda what? You have a first and last name?
Sam.
Seda Sam?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported?
I've been in the system before.
B&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Charged for it?
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk about lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Are you a citizen?
should shut your mouth.
Mom's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen,
Yes.
but you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You Dr. Phil. You look like Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, you know, on TV.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's turned on the TV during the daytime, you idiot.
This is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children, and he's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really.
Really? And never been deported?
Nope.
Huh.
Let's
What was the charge, Homan?
Come on.
Got it, sir.
All right. Is that a transport vehicle?
Working on it. Okay.
Fucking Dr. Phil. I've got this story for you, which happened, I believe, yesterday, but I think something similar is going down right now. Apparently, the cartels in Mexico not having this bullshit, opening fire on agents.
And welcome back, everyone, here live now from Fox. We do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you from Fox News' Bill Melugin reporting of a situation happening at the border right now. He is reporting per multiple law enforcement sources within the last hour, Border Patrol agents near Frontin, Texas, were fired upon from Mexico by suspected cartel gunmen as a group of illegal aliens were being brought across the river. I'm told that Border Patrol returned fire. Nobody hit on either side right there. And we are going to continue on with this as Texas DPS tells Bill Melugin that they are now patrolling the area and has a drone in the air and can see Mexican military assets now staging on the other side of the river there. So again, we are going to be following this story here for you on Live Now from Fox. It is very fluid at this moment, but this comes at a time when big changes are happening at the White House when it comes to border security, and a lot of these measures are taking place pretty much on a daily basis. We're also seeing mass deportations happening really now every day, as just yesterday, more than 900 people were picked up from major cities, from Boston to Los Angeles as well. And we were bringing that to you, just some of the many arrests that were happening yesterday, including an ISIS member that was accused there.
An ISIS member.
Border illegal as well. So again, some major disturbances though happening on the border. There's gunshots reportedly fired at U.S. Border Patrol agents. They are investigating right now, and we will keep an eye on this developing story for you all right here on Live Now from Fox.
Oh yeah, of course they're going to show proof of that. You know it. A woman in Washington has been arrested following her shooting a Border Patrol agent. This apparently happened about 1 week ago. We have new details today.
1 week ago today, Border Patrol agent David Chris Mayland was shot and killed in Coventry, Vermont. Today, we're learning more about the woman from Washington State who's accused of opening fire on U.S. Border Patrol agents at the scene of the crime. Teresa Youngblood was reported missing by her parents back in May. NBC5's Alexis Crandall breaks down what we know now.
According to a report from the Seattle Police Department, Youngblood's parents called police expressing their concerns after not hearing from their daughter for a few days. The report says Youngblood sent an email saying goodbye to her mother. Youngblood said she moved out to live with a friend and changed her phone number. Both of her parents told police her behavior had changed recently. They believed she was lying about where she was going and who she was seeing. They said she disconnected from childhood friends. Her parents say they were concerned that she was being forced to act this way or was in a controlling relationship. According to the report,
that's not good.
told Youngblood's parents, since Teresa is an adult, she's free to make her own decisions. Police later determined there was no reasonable concern for Youngblood's safety, so no missing persons report was created. The FBI says Youngblood and German national Felix Backel were the only people in a car that multiple U.S. Border Patrol
German national. Interesting.
agents stopped on I-91 for an immigration inspection last Monday. Within 15 minutes, Youngblood pulled out a gun, shot, and ultimately killed Agent Mayland. Backel died at the scene.
That was Alexis Crandall reporting. Youngblood was taken to the Dartmouth Medical Center for her injuries. She's facing several federal charges in this case and is scheduled to appear in court this afternoon.
Oh, well, huh. We'll learn more about that following the court appearances. Sorry to get a chance to say hey to everybody. Raiders, welcome in. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Avalon, Clinically. Minty, Shelley, Cult of Northune, Nothune, 16 Tones, welcome in. Good to see you again, my friend. We've missed you. Raptor Blue, once again, thank you. Thank you for the raid. If you guys could shout out Raptor for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. Ducky. Anybody else that didn't get chances on? Good evening. Mr. Elwood. All my rowdy friends are here tonight. Newly confirmed Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth taking slack over the removal of the Tuskegee Airmen from Air Force curriculum. Here is his response.
First black military pilots and heroes who fought racism to protect our country. Now the Air Force is restoring the use of training videos about the Tuskegee Airmen after a short-lived attempt.
Tones, I totally understand. Be sure to stick around. Here in about an hour, we're going to be watching the band live. I think it's from, I said 78, but I changed my mind. We're going to do like 84 because it was better quality. So stick around. We're going to watch the band. because I've got to take a break as well. Oh, anonymously, I didn't give you a good evening, my friend. Welcome in. The band is a cool name for a band.
To edit courses to align with President
Michael, good evening.
Dumping of DEI initiatives. Senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez joining me now. So, Louis, why would the training videos of Tuskegee Airmen misalign with Trump's rollback of DEI initiatives in the first place?
Well, Kara, this video is being played during basic training. Essentially, that's when a lot of the what we call DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion training takes place. And it's only a few hours, actually, in what is like months worth of training. But then because President Trump had issued an executive order ordering a review of all DEI across the federal government and actually putting a stop to it. That's exactly what the Air Force did. And so they looked at all of their training programs and they suspended them. And so it just so happened that this video was being played during those classes. Now, what we have today is that did not happen, according to the Air Force's top general, General Allen. He is saying that he's calling it a rumor that this video was actually ever removed. What he said is that I put in place a review immediately in keeping in line with the president's vision. And now we are continuing to play this video as part of our basic training. Now, note.
And doesn't this just confirm that DEI just means black? Yeah, Mr. Hillwood. Or any minority. You're exactly right. I had some dipshit on Facebook arguing with me yesterday saying his kindergartner was getting injected with DEI. He showed me the lesson, and it was like, how do different cultures handle family, or what? Why are some families blended? And I'm like, that sounds like a wholesome lesson, you fucking idiot.
Says basic training as opposed to DEI training.
He's like, well, there's nothing wrong with that one.
Blew up is that it was presented as
but they get worse.
Removal of training from all training, whereas in fact it was just focused on DEI. But again, a lot of concern about this just because of the story, and as you said, the storied nature of this hallowed unit.
So newly appointed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also got involved, right? What did you make of that?
Well, this morning he arrived at the Pentagon and he was greeted by about 30 reporters and photographers, and he made substantial, for him, I mean, for an arrival ceremony, he made some lengthy comments. Excuse me. And what he said was that essentially he reaffirmed that he is going to eliminate what he calls DEI from the military. He has been very open about this in his interviews prior to being nominated and after his nomination, that he is focused on making the military lethal, making it a focus of their energy, and that DEI training distracted the military from that focus. An argument can be made, again, that the major part of the training is lethality. But again, he wants to make sure that in his view that this message is carried through because President Trump ordered it, and that he's going to carry through.
The military's been incredibly lethal for the people who have served. Suicide rates of vets, sky fucking high. What about all the diseases they come back with thanks to burn pits? Let's talk about the lethality of the military.
And ensure that DEI has no place in the U.S. military.
Well, is there a chance that this threat of eliminating the Tuskegee Airmen educational video...
Remember when we did the story about Senator Tuberville? And he was all upset about the poetry slam, and then we went and watched it, and it was a anti-suicide prevention thing that they were doing, and they were like sharing their poems about their feelings and shit. Like, yeah, that's woke, Tuberville. Try to prevent suicide in the military, which is a huge problem.
Ever comes back?
Well, we really don't know because, as we know, there is a review underway. General Allen, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, has said that it's going to stay there. It is a part of the history, and it's not just the Tuskegee Airmen, Kara, it's also a comprehensive view of the Air Force, and it includes the unit called WASPs. These were the first women to serve in the Air Corps at the time during World War II, and it continued on as it became the Air Force a few years later. So as these reviews continue, anything's possible. But for now, it appears that this one specific video with the history of these two groundbreaking groups are still in the Air Force's basic training program.
As they should be forever. Louis, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Michael, you bring up an excellent point. I didn't even know that it was DEIA until the other day, and it might have been a leftist YouTube video essay I was watching that referred to it as DEIA. I'd never heard the accessibility part. I actually think it was. I think it was like Alicia Miller or Legal Eagle or somebody along those lines I was watching. I was like, I hadn't even known about the accessibility part. But yeah, I'm sure they don't want to actually say that because discriminating against people with disabilities doesn't seem too palatable, even for their audience. Earlier, we heard from an Auschwitz survivor, a Holocaust survivor. I'd be remiss if I didn't play you one of the Tuskegee Airmen talking about how he feels about this whole issue.
President Trump is expected to sign executive orders eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion within the Department of Defense. In anticipation of that, the Air Force suspended a basic training course, which chronicled the contributions of women and black pilots during World War II.
And that includes the Tuskegee Airmen. The course has now been reinstated. And as WBZ's Mike Sullivan shows us, one of the last surviving airmen who lives in Roxbury is confident his legacy will never be erased.
If they are the greatest generation, then you are looking at one of the greatest of the greats.
We really were the top guns of the Air Force.
This is Brigadier General Enoch Woodhouse II, one of the last remaining members of the famed Tuskegee Airmen, an all-black Air Force unit that became vital in World War II.
And people say, well, Woody, how could you be dissatisfied being in an all-black unit? Simple. They were the best.
They escorted and protected bombers during World War II. Woodhouse saying they have the best safety record in the Air Force.
We all did more than we were entitled to do.
During the war, Woodhouse was in a segregated basic training unit.
I was commissioned in 1946 at 19. Now, in 46, the war was over.
He says every African American, regardless of education or ability, was designated to Squadron F.
And F sole mission was housekeeping.
Woodhouse saying a study came out during that time characterizing black youth in combat as docile.
The main thing was we lacked physical prowess.
Yet it was their physical prowess that made them heroes in World War II. Over the weekend, steps were taken to remove teaching materials about the airmen to comply with President Trump's DEI ban in the military.
I was a little shocked at first, but it didn't bother me when things simmered down. You know, I'm just looking at the whole perspective.
The Air Force has since done an about-face, returning the footage. Woodhouse has no concerns, calling it just a blip in history.
You can't change history. People can make a statement, but you know, being spiritual, the truth will out.
In Boston, I'm Mike Sullivan, WBZ News.
Well, I mean, what a hell of a perspective. My apologies to anybody who is invested in the stock market. Today might have been a rough day for you. The U.S. stock market losing $1 trillion, expected to open in a free fall tomorrow.
Chinese startup DeepSeek, whose new low-cost AI model rattled tech stocks Monday, suffered a large-scale cyber attack, causing it to temporarily limit registrations. Earlier in the day, DeepSeek said it was hit by outages on its website after its AI assistant became the top-rated free app in Apple's U.S. App Store and overtook ChatGPT in downloads. DeepSeek claims it uses cheaper chips and less data, challenging the idea that advanced semiconductors, like those made by NVIDIA, are needed to run AI applications. That sent major tech stocks tumbling, with shares of NVIDIA falling as much as 17.8% at
NVIDIA, lost the most market share of any company in the history of the stock market. Dublin, good evening.
1 point Monday morning. Brian Jacobson,
Biggle,
economist at Annex Wealth Management.
This could really be a change in the script, a change in the narrative around artificial intelligence, where it's no longer about what has been called the picks and shovels. That was like NVIDIA, as far as with the chips that they were selling, and maybe even the data center providers. Now it's moved on from the picks and the shovels more to perhaps the refiners and the jewelers in that narrative, where it's more about what's the actual use case of the technology.
DeepSeek's popularity has also upended widely held views about U.S. dominance in the AI space and the effectiveness of Washington's export controls targeting China's advanced chip and AI capabilities. Little is known about the company behind DeepSeek, a small Hangzhou-based...
Yeah, clinically, they still close at like, what, $114 a share?
Engine giant
which is insane.
First Chinese AI large language model. Since then, dozens of Chinese tech companies, large and small, have released their own AI models, but DeepSeek is the first to be praised by the U.S. tech industry as matching or even surpassing the performance of cutting-edge U.S. models.
I've said it a gazillion, $122. Yeah, I knew it was $122 a share is still a very high stock price. I've been saying it for years. All of these tech companies are way overvalued. And my lord, you must be invested in some brick and mortars. Some commodities and shit that didn't take a hit today. Also, I know jack shit about finance. Do not listen to me about anything. I even edit for several financial channels.
You take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning.
No freaking idea about any of this shit. Numbers, man. Trump met with GOP lawmakers in Doral, his golf course in Florida today. Gonna show you what they served him here in just a second.
Welcome to the News Hour. The Trump administration ended week one with a Friday night mass firing of more than a dozen lead inspectors of government oversight, a weekend uptick of immigration arrests, and a day-long fight over deportation.
Hamburger indeed.
Colombia.
President Trump is meeting tonight with House Republicans at his golf resort in Miami. Moments ago, he addressed the GOP lawmakers as they gathered for their annual strategy retreat.
If we do our job over the next 21 months, not only will House Republicans be reelected and expand our majority in 2026, we will cement a national governing coalition that will preserve American freedom for generations to come.
Congressional correspondent Lisa Desjardins is in Miami at the Republican retreat and joins us now. So, Lisa, tell us what you're hearing from those House Republicans. Are they all firmly behind the president's actions?
The sense here, Amna, is that they are. Certainly publicly, Republicans are all telling me that they back even his most controversial ideas. Now, what is happening, though, somewhat behind the scenes, is that there is some discomfort for some members on some ideas.
I would assume some of my GOP mommies were in that meeting, Michael.
Including things like Cubans and Venezuelans who have temporary status. That's an issue here in Miami, in Florida in particular. But members who have problems with the way that...
You know Nancy Mace was there.
...seem to be trying to influence him behind the scenes, not criticizing him. Overall, he has basically a wide grace period, a very wide berth from his own party to do what he will right now as they watch him. I asked Speaker Johnson just a few hours ago about the President Trump's announcement that he may want to dismantle FEMA, as well as his firings of those inspectors general. And Johnson defended both of them.
By the way, he has cleaned house at the DOJ today, firing several people who were involved in the prosecution, January 6th defendants.
Those moves as a sign of what he calls a new era in government.
Holiday.
The president says he wants to make the government more efficient and effective, and we say we want to limit the size and scope of government. It means that everything is on the table for reevaluation. This is a new moment for us to reevaluate everything that the federal government does.
Now, essentially, what we have here is not just the party of Donald Trump, but also the Congress, for now, of Donald Trump. It really is more than symbolic that House Republicans are meeting here at his resort. Trump stands to profit both politically and financially from this retreat.
Yep.
Of course, a critical time for Republicans' larger agenda. So what are they discussing at this retreat specifically?
You know, I've got to tell you, I mean, I've been to many of these retreats, and I don't think I've ever been at one where the decisions here have had such high dollar figures and potentially such high, far-reaching effects to them. So let's look at the sort of massive fiscal goals that Republicans have here at this retreat. First, they want to extend the Trump tax cuts. That has a price tag of some $4 trillion and could affect every American either way, whether they're extended or not, most every American. They also want to add to that a host of other tax cuts. Remember, Trump on the campaign trail raised, for example, exempting tipped wages from tax cuts. Well, what we have here, what I've seen and other reporters have obtained, is a menu of over 200 kinds of actions related to this tax cut agenda. That includes...
He's even floated abolishing the income tax.
Also, how you might pay for those tax cuts. So going along with that, though, there are also some hurdles that Republicans face as well.
We haven't enforced the emoluments clause in forever.
Including the funding of government. They also need the House and Senate to agree on an outline for spending. Deficits are climbing, about $700 billion just the first 3 months of this year. And some of these ideas, cuts in particular to Medicaid, are tough politically, Amna. So they really have their work cut out for them. They all have to agree, and these are not easy things to figure out.
Lisa, walk us through the timeline here. What's needed to get all of that done?
Okay, we're going to talk about this a few times, but let me go through this first of all. The first step for Republicans is they have to pass a budget, a framework of spending. So let's talk about what this would look like. If you look at today, you look at exactly what that outline would be. You start today and you look at January 27th today, and then the first major deadline, the first fiscal deadline coming up March 14th is when they have to figure out how to fund all of government, no less. Then Speaker Johnson has announced before that, that major deadline, he wants to have a budget for the following year from his party by that last week of February. And what's more is the Congress will not be here all of February. So there's only 3 weeks really remaining to get these things done. And a reminder that they are down, or they will be down soon, to just a single vote majority in the House. So this is a very difficult business, and they're working on it here.
Good luck with that. GOP lawmakers, of course, was served Trump-branded burgers. There's a restaurant in Florida that serves these, so I'm assuming that's where they got the burgers from, or they stole the idea from it. So he stands to profit from them being there. It's the party of Trump. It's the Congress of Trump. Even the food branded with Trump. Totally not a cult. They're totally not purging people who disagree with... Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. The DOJ being purged of anyone who participated in the prosecution of Donald Trump.
More than a dozen U.S. Department Justice officials who worked on the criminal investigations into President Donald Trump have now been fired. A letter from Acting Attorney General James McHenry states the officials cannot be trusted to, quote, faithfully implement Trump's agenda. Some of the officials had worked with Special Counsel Jack Smith, who filed criminal charges against Trump in 2 separate cases. Charges in both of those cases were ultimately dropped after Trump won the election. The officials who were fired have 30 days now to appeal their removal from federal service.
And they fucking better. This letter is wild. As President Trump declared on his first day back in office, the American people have witnessed the previous administration engage in a systematic campaign against its perceived political opponents, weaponizing the legal force of numerous federal law enforcement agencies against those. This is ironic, is it not? Accuse the other side of doing what you were guilty of in a literal letter doing exactly that against those perceived political opponents in the form of investigations, prosecutions, civil enforcement actions, and other related actions. Nowhere was that effort more salient than in the unprecedented prosecution the Department of Justice vigorously pursued against President Trump himself. You played a significant role in prosecuting President Trump. The proper functioning of government critically depends on the trust superior officials place in their subordinates. Given your significant role in prosecuting the president, I do not believe that the leadership of the department can trust you to assist in implementing the president's agenda faithfully. Not scary at all. Mr. Spronk, good evening. How is it understandable? If the Democrats had done that, if Joe Biden had fired an FBI director that was investigating him the way Trump did in his first administration, I am goddamn tired of the fucking double standard on politicians. Do the Democrats suck? Yes. Are they feckless and ineffective and bought out by big business? Abso-fucking-lutely. But goddamn, are they held to a completely different standard than the right is. And if Joe Biden did what Trump did, the right would be losing their ever-loving fucking minds about it. We'd never hear the end of it. What a wild situation we're in right now. But hey. You know, Trump is out for the little man. So, of course, I called him a billionaire the other day. Apparently, he's not a billionaire. He's just a half a billionaire. That's what he declared. Now, it's possible he's worth a lot more than what he's actually declared in his filings. Scott Bessent confirmed as Trump's Treasury Secretary.
Ms. Cortez Masto.
This was the vote earlier today. You see McConnell talking with Collins.
The yeas are 68. The nays are 29. The confirmation is confirmed. Under the previous order, the motions to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the President will be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Mr. President.
And once again, like, I have to be aware of my own biases. I've asked people that I feel are far more neutral than I am, far more removed from politics than I am. Like, I'm not crazy, right? Democrats are held to a completely different standard than Republicans. Republicans can do fucking anything and get away with it. Democrats have to be fucking, like, spotless record. Like, you can not like Obama all day long. You can disagree with things, and I did. I called him President Deport him at drone strike. Yeah, once again, he deported more people than Trump did. Deported more people in his second term than Trump did his entire term. So, I mean, but he was spotless. Like, he had no other than, you know, criminal activity that we would refer to as war crimes that a president would commit. No fucking business dealings. Biden was like the least wealthy president we've ever had, at least in the modern era. Yeah, I swear to God, talking to idiot-ass right-wingers, and it's like they will call Joe Biden a pedo at the drop of a hat, and I'm like, Trump's an actual pedo. And they're like, yeah, what evidence do you have of that? I show them the court case. I show them Jeffrey Epstein saying Trump was his best friend. I show them all the pictures of Epstein together, all the, 8 different entries in his contact book for Trump. I show them all the creepy shit that Trump has said, all like the 30-something rape allegations. And they're like, well, you've got no evidence. It's insane. If I haven't got your blood boiling yet, if I haven't made you scared for this country yet, here you go. This was from the same conference earlier. I was really hoping PBS didn't play this clip. But boy, hold on to your socks for this one.
I don't know how anybody could even vote for the other side. In many cases, they don't, but they do get credit for it. You'll have to think about that. I've raised a lot of money for the next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't know. I think I'm not allowed to run again. I'm not sure. Am I allowed to run again, Mike? I better not get you involved in that argument. No, we raised a lot of money, a tremendous amount, and our teletown halls are something that's very special that nobody else is able to even contemplate using. We've gotten a lot of people elected with those teletown halls. I don't know how anybody could even vote for the other side in many cases.
The next term. He's raised money for the next term. Facing an FBI investigation that Trump could halt, Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee proposes allowing third term for president. The Tennessee congressman, who was effusive in his praise of President Trump, faces an FBI investigation over allegations of fraud in reporting a $320,000 personal loan to his campaign. Funny how that works. Fantastic reporting once again by Phil Williams. The resolution to amend the 22nd Amendment is written to apply to the unique circumstances facing Trump and would not allow a former president who has served 2 consecutive terms, such as Obama, to seek a third term. Fucking wow! Because, I mean, if you pass that, I'm on the Obama train. Just because, man, would that make their heads explode. Not that I like him, but that he would absolutely trounce Trump in the election, and that, boy, would that piss the MAGAs off. So I'm right there on the Trump train. Right, Trump train. The Obama train. I guess I'm on the Trump train. Pass the amendment. Come on, let's do it. In truth, Ogles' resolution stands no real chance of gaining the required 2/3 vote of the House and Senate, but may be designed more to curry favor with Trump at a time when the Murray County Republican is trying to stall the FBI's investigation into whether he committed fraud with his campaign finances. Carla, good evening. Yes, Phil Williams, one of the best goddamn reporters in the country, and I'm going to show you why here in just a little bit. CJ, good evening. But before we do that, I am going to horrify all of you. You did not want to see this. This is not something you want me to play. I haven't watched it yet either. I haven't watched it. This is exactly the kind of content that we would play on the Troll Patrol. I will preface this by saying it is AI, but it has been going around in right-wing circles, and a lot of people think it's real. Maybe that money that Trump was referring to is going to go to his son Barron's campaign.
I've seen the trials, I've felt the weight, but through it all, I know my fate. With my Father's steps and God's command, I'll lead this nation hand in hand. I will be path is long, the climb is steep, but through His grace, the promise I'll keep. For every voice, for every need, with love and strength, I'll take the lead.
He's got tiny hands too.
Be a president after my dad, with faith in my heart, I'll make this land glad. Guided by God, I'll carry the flame. For truth and justice, I'll honor His name. Oh, the future's bright, the journey's clear. With His wisdom, I'll persevere. Through every storm, I'll boldly stand to build a stronger, united land. I will be a president after my dad.
I really do hate you guys. I'm playing the whole thing.
I'll make this land glad. Guided by God, I'll carry the flame. For truth and justice, I'll honor His name. So here I am, with a prayer to begin, with hope in my soul and strength within. By God's design, the journey's planned. I'll lead
None of us are going to live long enough. We're all doomed.
with His hand.
Oh, yes, I absolutely saw it shared out by people who thought it was real. Absolutely. That was 100% AI. It is going around in right-wing circles right now, and it's fucking hilarious. Tones, once upon a time I would say I felt sorry for Barron, but apparently he was very integral in getting Trump reelected. So, do you still want to give him some grace? I'll tell you who did not get some grace. A man who was pardoned by Trump has now been shot and killed by Indiana sheriff's deputy while resisting arrest. It's not even been a week yet. It's not even been a week yet. An Indiana man recently pardoned by President Donald Trump for storming the Capitol on January 6th is dead after being shot by a sheriff's deputy while allegedly resisting arrest. Matthew Huddle, 42, of Hobart, was shot and killed during a traffic stop near the Jasper-Pulaski County line on Sunday afternoon. Did not make it a week. Indiana State Police said the traffic stop led to the deputy attempting to arrest Huddle, but Huddle allegedly resisted and struggled with the officer. This altercation led to the deputy firing his gun and killing Huddle. According to state police, Huddle was in possession of a firearm during the traffic stop. No additional details have been provided. However, about the altercation between Huddle and the deputy and what Huddle was being arrested for. Federal sources confirmed that Huddle was recently pardoned by Trump. Huddle and his uncle, Dale Huddle, were arrested for taking part in the January 6th U.S. Capitol riots. Matthew Huddle ended up being tracked down and arrested in Boise, Idaho. The FBI said Huddle was inside the Capitol for roughly 10 minutes, but remained on Capitol grounds for several hours. I have no regrets. I will not say I'm sorry, Dale Huddle said about him and his nephew, Matthew, taking part in the riot. Both Huddles were sentenced for storming the Capitol. Matthew Huddle was sentenced for 6 months in federal prison, followed by 12 months of supervised release. His prison term ended on July 17th. Okay, so he wasn't actually locked up. He didn't make it a week after the pardon. But he hadn't actually been out of jail for less than a week, unfortunately. Crazy shit going on in Indiana. This is breaking news as we are coming on tonight. Content warning. We're in the crime section of the show, by the way. And as always, it's just another day in mass shooting, USA. Three people are dead, 2 officers wounded at a shooting at a Martin's in Elkhart, Indiana. So this is live, actually.
933 is where we are, that intersection. 933 going south from this location, 31, as a lot of you call it. And we knew something was going on, and that's when we received word. We've not gotten this officially from anyone at the hospital, but several sources have confirmed with us that the officers were taking a memorial. For obvious reasons, it would make sense because of the trauma level that the memorial is compared to Elkhart General, things like that, right? And so that is one of the reasons I know a lot of questions people may have.
So the officers were apparently severely injured.
This is outside of the hospital. This is raw footage, as we call it, so you're going to see a lot of movement of the camera, potentially shaking of the camera, things like that. That is what you're seeing here.
So the shooter is among the 3 people dead.
I'm just looking here on Facebook. William, you guys are
anonymously. That was not word salad. How in the fuck?
Just telling the story. We're telling their story.
She made perfect sense.
Man.
So once again, we are live with the news station. This happened within the last 3 or 4 hours.
I am just looking here. Forgive me. Thank you guys for your comments. And
Torchy, good evening.
152 people are watching. The video you're seeing is from outside Memorial. Don, are you live right now? You're not on live, but I want to see your thumb. If give you a thumbs up or a wave, I just want to make sure this is you before I take it.
Shake the camera up and down. And yes, Torchy, that was me. I was on with my buddy. We were chit-chatting on the headset. I saw your message. You did find me on PlayStation.
That it shows the scene. Let me look here. Got it. I want to go back to some.
And I mean, like, if there's somebody on the PlayStation with the name JustinFREAKIN and freaking capitalized, come on now. Police say 3 people are dead, including the suspect, and 2 police officers injured. Details are still currently limited. So this was reported at 5:52, so about 3 hours ago. Police say there is no longer a threat to the public. The investigation is being handled by the Elkhart County Homicide Unit.
Some of the recorded scene from outside Elkhart as well. So this is the hospital in South Bend, less than a mile from where we are, and then what you're looking at now is a scene at the Martins in Elkhart from just about an hour ago. That is what we're looking at, Don. Thank you for that.
So I guess it's a Ingalls, Turtle Bees, Kroger kind of store.
Information, and I'm just checking emails. It's about 30 minutes ago. Thank you, Don. This is a video from about 30 minutes ago.
So we don't really have any info on this shooting. Torchy, did we miss your birthday? Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. I hope it was fantastic for you. And a PS5 is a hell of a great birthday present. Oh, it's in February. Facebook has banned me again because I put a picture of... Can you still see it? Yeah, it's right there. Socks had, and it was a lot more prominent. It was a lot bigger. But Socks had scratched the shit out of me last week. And I probably took a picture like the next day. And it kind of looked like, I tried to cut myself. So... I posted it to Facebook, was like, remember, kids, down the road, not across the street. Ha, 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 ha. Facebook is wanting me to seek mental health treatment and has banned me for a fucking month. If you thought I and I shouldn't joke about that. I really shouldn't. That is something I have never had suicidal ideation. I can't even imagine, like, I'm a fucking coward. I couldn't imagine ever doing that. You side with Facebook. Yes, that's why I shouldn't make those jokes. Because I don't know what it's like to live with that, but I have friends that do. And they have told me, and my heart goes out to them. Carla, my heart goes out to you. I don't know what it's like to be in that position. And I really shouldn't make... I can't help it that I make jokes about fucking everything. Cancel Justin. I agree. I apologize. Believe me, I know how horrible I am. I'm just digging myself a fucking hole, aren't I? It is a bad place to be, and that's one of the reasons why I am anti-gun. I will always bring up the statistics that you are less safe when you own a gun. And right-wingers will always be like, well, that includes suicide. I'm like, well, yeah, your chances of succeeding are far higher if you own a gun. Tyler X live, my friend. Good evening. Welcome in. Welcome in, Raiders. I am JustinFREAKIN. We find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're in the middle of the crime section. We've already done the politics. Chat, should we play Tyler X's viewers? Should we play them the Baron video? Should I break it out again? Some people say yes, some people say no. No, please, no. Okay, I'm not gonna play the whole thing again because some of you had to sit through the whole thing. We had Donald Trump joking about how he has already raised money for a third term that he may or may not be able to use that money. If he's not able to use that money, perhaps his son, Barron, is going to step in and use it. I am not high enough for this shit.
I've seen the trials, I've felt the weight, but through it all, I know my fate.
Once again, this is not real. This is AI.
And God's command.
But you can't tell that to the boomers sharing it out.
Hand in hand, I will be a president after my dad. With faith in my heart, I'll make this land glad. Guided by God, I'll carry the flame. For truth and justice, I'll honor his name.
I agree, Shelly. That's enough. You want to hear a good song? Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked, sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news beat doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the call.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, quit panic, attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in Discord, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll patrol. Whatever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
Right-wingers are morons.
Like one it and hit one back on one more click. Where we hit the set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but it takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for JustinFREAKIN.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Not high enough for this shit.
Thank you for being a freaking follower. Clap yoy. Did I say that right? If you're coming in, if you're a viewer of Tyler X, you're a friend of mine. So be sure to hit that follow button or subscribe on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, whatever the fuck it is. We're on both. Speaking of which, if you didn't catch me last night, if it was late at night for you, I was on with Echoplex Media. It was like 4 o'clock my time. I sent that to Media Winch. Media Winch was like, yes, Producer Dave is a horrible wingman. Producer Dave completely ruined my chances with Senator Joni Ernst. With one phone call. Drunk Steve. He was Steve. He's very Steve. But if you didn't get the chance to witness that last night, because it was a train wreck, I did put the clip up on YouTube. He was talking shit about me, was he not, anonymously? He was talking shit about me. He's like, I gotta hop on, fucking let you have it, son. I'm still out. I get paid tomorrow night. But it's like tomorrow night, so I probably won't be able to go to the weed store, so it'll be Wednesday. Please put in a good word for me with Joni Ernst. Yes, when we say Producer Dave, we mean Gay Dave. And I'm sure last night I really, was really tripping the chat out, because I'm talking about women, I'm talking about being on Grindr, hooking up with guys. In case you didn't know, I'll fuck anyone. All right, back to the news, because it's Live Music Monday and we got a concert to watch. I am polyamorous, I am pansexual. I'll fuck everybody. Justin has no standards. I told my buddy about the orgy couch that we've been doing. The segment on Fox News where if we've got all the hosts on the orgy couch, would you join the orgy? And he's like, well, do most people usually want to join the orgy? I'm like, well, I'm a yes on all of them. Not so much everybody else. Okay, anyway, we do serious news here. Even though we make a lot of jokey jokes. Carla and a hottie, might I add. Earlier, we made note of Phil Williams being the GOAT of reporters. Fox and Friends with benefits. I'm going to steal that, Minty. That's fucking funny. Journeying Jordan, welcome in. For some reason, my browser's not wanting to play this video. I'm going to have to go to a different browser. We were talking earlier about Phil Williams, he is a reporter with Channel 5 in Nashville. He is one of the best reporters in the country. Hold on, I gotta get through this ad here. Oh my God. And this was about as targeted an ad as I could possibly get. Why'd you have to call me out like that, ad on the news story? So this is Phil Williams. He's a reporter for Channel 5 in Nashville. He has been covering the rise of Nazism and far-right fascism and its intersection with all the mass shootings we're seeing. Smash, welcome in.
I'm curious, why Nashville? Why did you guys choose Nashville? From groups like the neo-Nazi Goyim Defense League, who brought chaos to the streets of Nashville last summer, to the notorious Blood Tribe that paraded down our streets, these have been the faces of hate confronting our state and our community. Now we're seeing the young men radicalized by that hate. The shooter at Nashville's Antioch High School, 17-year-old Solomon Henderson, left behind a manifesto making it clear that he had come to hate Jews, immigrants, even his own race. Here, Henderson posed in a t-shirt for a neo-Nazi band, and here he displayed an image of Adolf Hitler. The first entry in his diary included a photo of notorious Columbine killer Eric Harris with the caption, "I'm burning with hate. Hate will change the world." 284 pages later in the same diary, one of his last entries linked to an obscure website that reported the arrest of another Tennessee teen who also dreamed of mass murder. Buried in court files at the U.S. District Court in Nashville, the story of 18-year-old gunner Joseph Fisher is just as haunting. Tipped off by Meta that someone on Instagram was sending messages that he was planning to conduct a mass shooting, the FBI found chats between Fisher and another person from out of state who was also talking of mass murder. According to a criminal complaint on June 16th, Gunner Fisher confided he was gonna go on a spree this year, that I think I will just snap and I'm like a bomb. I've always wanted to do this, he wrote. When I was an effing child, before I even got into school, I saw
his name was Gunner.
Fantasize about someone mowing them down. He felt he was bound to murder. When FBI agents eventually searched Fisher's phone, they found a video in which he declared Jews are the root of all evil, and sand N-words are their little minions. And
oh God, has anybody ever seen Harlem Nights? They're like, she's known as Lady H. She sells heroin. And the dude looks at her, like, just because your name is Lady H doesn't mean you have to sell it. Just because your name is Gunner doesn't mean you have to shoot him.
I, Gunner Joseph Fisher, am going to take care of them both. He added, let's get this party started. According to the FBI, Fisher initially plotted a Columbine-style attack at his school, hoping to plant bombs, then using his guns to mow down anyone who escaped. Fisher wrote in his manifesto, "My bombs are actually gonna work. My entire school is gonna be wiped off the face of this earth. It's gonna be awesome." His message for the black students there, outrun my effing guns. The FBI says Fisher also considered attacking a furry convention where young people dress as animals. Finally, he declared, "I changed to a mosque like Brenton," a reference to the mass murderer who slaughtered 51 innocent Muslims in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2019. Fisher had just announced that 2025 would be the year he would strike, a plan that was fortunately thwarted by the FBI. Bill Williams, News Channel 5 Investigates.
He live streamed that attack on the Christchurch, and like me, this is why I'm in news. I do this. I've seen a lot of shit, but watching that video, is one of the most... I still have nightmares about it to this day. I probably shouldn't have watched that. For a guy that watched a shit ton of beheadings in the 2000s, that one really disturbed me. Now, this is a story you all are going to be very interested in. It involves a cop being a liar. Apparently, he claimed he was shot, but has now surrendered himself to police because he made it the fuck up.
Meanwhile, new developments in the disturbing story on Long Island from last October. A New York State trooper stripped of his position and as he was supposedly shot in the leg by a stranger. It was big news when he was released from the hospital and cops frantically looked for the shooter. But then they say they realized he was the shooter. And it's big news today again when Thomas Maschia was led handcuffed to court. His parents were also charged. So why did he do this? Long Island reporter Shantae Lance live at the courthouse in Mineola. Shantae.
Well, according to a criminal complaint, Thomas Maschia did it for attention and sympathy. But whatever his motive, it cost him his job as a state trooper and could...
Well, now, did he accidentally shoot himself and then, pass it? Oh, I can get sympathy out of this. Also, love her outfit.
And he and now his parents.
That's what I was thinking, PP girl.
Trooper Maschia, did you shoot yourself? Sorry. Why did you fire your own firearm? Stone-faced and silent, but plenty to say 3 months ago on this bogus 911 call.
Shot fired, I'm hit.
The 27
Byronic.
former trooper leaving his own Long Island State Police barracks in handcuffs after Nassau County prosecutors say back on October 30th, he staged his own shooting near exit 17 on the shoulder of the Southern State Parkway.
Staged makes it seem like it wasn't an accident and then he just passed it off. Staged makes it sound like he intentionally shot himself.
He knew the fear that it would create, but he did it anyway.
Nassau County District Attorney Ann Donnelly says Maschia pulled on the shoulder of the Southern State Parkway and dumped out multiple .22 caliber shells. Prosecutors say he then drove to Hempstead Lake State Park, shot himself, and then drove back to make that 911 call, even making up a phony suspect description and getaway car.
9 shell casings, but no projectiles found at the scene. No tire marks. Not a single video that showed
not staged.
Charger Maschia claimed belonged to his shooter.
Or, not an accident. Totally staged.
An honorary salute for Maschia after he was released from Nassau University Medical Center after he told his fellow officers he was shot in his leg. A search of Mascia's West Hempstead home that he shares with his parents led investigators to find a gun inside his parents' bedroom, landing both of them with a criminal possession of a firearm charge because Mascia's father, Thomas Maschia Sr., a disgraced former New York City cop, is a convicted felon for his involvement with drug deals in the 1990s.
Oh, wow!
And his parents left Nassau County Court after they all pleaded not guilty. Tom, do you have any comment about what happened this whole ordeal? I think people just want to know why it happened. Still nothing after he was charged with tampering with physical evidence, official misconduct, and falsely reporting a crime, which is a felony.
This is an egregious act that occurred that not only triggered a massive response throughout the community, but it harmed the reputation of law enforcement in general.
State police say there were no red flags when he was undergoing his psych evaluation along with the background check.
Now, no red flags.
He could face anywhere between 1 to 3 years in prison. And by the way, according to the district attorney, this isn't the first time that he made an emergency call. He also made one back in 2022 under a different department saying that he was a victim of a hit and run. That was never proven.
Oh, he was lying then, too. Hold on, we're going to take a detour because this is just the next story that auto plays, and I'm interested.
Concerns tonight about the health of New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Last night, a spokesperson announced that the mayor has not been feeling his best and canceled his public schedule. Instead, he's going to undergo what's being described as routine medical tests. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett is live at City Hall with much more on what he is learning tonight about.
Oh no, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Oh well. And I love how all the right-wingers are using Adams like, oh, the Democrats, even other Democrats are turning on him. And I'm like, do you not know who Eric Adams is? You dumb fuck. Julie, welcome in. And he's a crooked motherfucker, and he's trying to get a pardon from Trump. I wouldn't doubt that he switches to the Republican Party. Nobody likes him. I'm amazed. The only reason he won is the same reason that that Hillary won the primary. Oh, smoochies. Oh, you're quoting Jay. Smoochy boochies. The only reason why he won was because Capitol was scared. It was Cynthia Nixon, right? That was that race. No, she was running for governor. Who was running against Adams in that last race? Libertad, good evening. Eric Adams is the current mayor of New York City, a Democrat, a former cop, and crooked as fuck. He's been taking money from the Turkish government? And there were like other governments he'd been taking money from, but the Turkish one was the main one. This next story going to be extremely disturbing, so... Singer Dee Woods says she had troubling interactions with P. Diddy.
Dee Woods, she's sharing new allegations about Sean Diddy Combs. Eva Pilgrim spoke with her. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning again, George. He was one of the most powerful people in the entertainment industry, but now music mogul...
It is disturbing how many old fucking concerts we go back and watch, how many performances we watch, and fucking Diddy is there. It really is it is disturbing how omnipresent he was in the music industry between, 95 and 2015?
Sean Diddy Combs is behind bars on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. This morning, Dee Woods, one of the members of Danity Kane...
I have such a crush on Olay.
...work for him.
This morning, with music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' criminal trial just months away...
That's what I'm talking about. Y'all did a great job today, ladies.
Some of those who worked closely with the hitmaker describing for the first time their experiences. Dee Woods.
I don't know that I've ever heard this song.
Of the chart-topping girl group Danity Kane, after starring on MTV's popular reality.
Oh yeah, I never liked them.
The band 3.
The day we were chosen, I was like, it's bad boy for life, baby.
She says what should have been a dream come true quickly became something else, alleging Diddy created a verbally abusive work environment.
I'm curious why you decided to speak up now.
I would say that this moment now is a time where I feel like my experience, my truth will really be heard and actually considered and believed.
Dee Woods sharing her story as part of a new investigation discovery docuseries, The Fall of Diddy.
From the outside, he was this mogul. He was this...
Apparently that dropped today.
Could make your dreams come true.
Unsettling scenes like this, a reminder of what it was like on Making the Band.
Juanita, what's your stomach looking like? For real, are you feeling a little thick?
I always feel thick next to these skinny chicks.
You're like a burger away.
He did it in different ways with all of us. You know, picking and prodding and just a way to chip and knock away, but then praise you. I see myself standing.
Yeah, that's what abusers do.
Scary, predatory spaces and hearing somebody say some of the most degrading things to me.
How was it predatory?
Somebody constantly treating you like a piece of meat. Only valuing you for your sex appeal. And in some of the environments, you know, it was even scary to be by yourself.
Despite turmoil on and off camera, Danity Kane debuted to massive success.
Did they? I don't remember them being anything. I need to keep talking.
Came to a screeching halt when
not get copyright.
Aubrey O'Day and D Woods.
Based on a lot of things that I've heard, you're not really a happy camper in this situation.
No, I don't think anyone has been happy for a long time in this situation.
Okay, so you could go too.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive about that.
In the docuseries, D Woods claims she saw what she says were inappropriate communications from Diddy to Aubrey prior to their firing.
Was there anyone you could have talked to about it?
Absolutely not. Each other.
There was no one to tell?
Because what were they going to do? So it's like, how do we survive this?
Diddy has denied all allegations against him in the documentary. His attorneys telling ABC News the
bullshit
failed to provide sufficient time or details for his representatives to address unsubstantiated claims, adding he has full confidence in the facts and the judicial process where the truth will prevail.
I'd like to say I have full confidence in the facts and the judicial process, but I've seen it fail far too many times in my life.
The accusations against him are pure fiction.
Are you afraid in some ways that he'll get out, that there'll be some sort of retribution?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even doing this, you know, it's like, maybe I shouldn't say, maybe I should stop talking, shut up, you know, but it's like, you know.
Amazingly not, Torchy.
Not talking hasn't changed anything either.
D Woods has never stopped pursuing her passions, returning to her theater roots and even performing on Broadway.
What would you say to Diddy if you had the chance to talk to him?
Girl. I honestly do not know, but I don't think you really have to say anything. As long as I'm holding my head up high and my shoulders back.
And D Woods is still actively performing, actively auditioning. She laughed about how busy it is right now because it's pilot season, and she's hopeful about what's to come. The Fall of Diddy premieres tonight on Investigation Discovery, and it streams on Max. We watched the whole thing, our whole team. Yeah. There was a lot you haven't seen before.
Okay. Yeah, that'll probably be something I'll watch because I'm just a glutton for punishment. I get off this fucking stream and still watch body cam videos and shit. Oh. Couple more disturbing stories. New York City went like, what, a week? 15 days or something without a shooting death? That didn't stop people from getting thrown in front of subways, though. Why am I laughing? It's horrible. A woman pushed in front of a New York City subway train earlier today.
Victim, a 23-year-old who apparently never saw her attacker.
Fox 5's Lisa Evers is in Washington Heights, where this attack happened earlier today. Lisa, what are you hearing tonight?
Well, Steve and Natasha, we're here inside that 168th Street subway station in Washington Heights where the A and the C train stop, where that attack happened this morning. This is one of the stations that has seen an influx of police officers as part of the recent surge. Now, despite that, this
a lot of good it did them.
3-year-old woman was attacked.
It's almost like cops don't prevent crime.
Seconds earlier could have caused her instant death. Now, the NYPD tells us that about 9:20 this morning, the 23-year-old woman was waiting for the train on the northbound A train platform. As the train started moving into the station, police say 26-year-old Marquise Brazilis allegedly shoved the victim into the side of the train so hard her body bounced back and she fell down onto the platform. She was rushed to the hospital and we're told is in stable condition. Now, police arrested the suspect soon after. We spoke with riders here who tell us that they are constantly worried about their safety, wish there were more police officers, but understand they can't be everywhere. Here's what they had to say.
I think it should be 24 hours watch with police. Nighttime, daytime, and morning time.
I would say a private security or something. Oh, wait.
Like, because it's more like...
The city runs it, don't they? Oh.
stuff going on.
So yeah, cops.
Subway safety, there has to be more safety protocols for the passengers, because a lot of us are just trying to get home from work or trying to get to work, and these days we got to be on alert at all times, because from anywhere we could get got.
It's scary to be down there. If we don't have police officers there, anybody can do anything to you. So we really need more.
Cops do not protect you. They have no duty to protect you.
PD tells us that this.
It was actually a case involving a subway rider. The cops were on another on another car, and someone was stabbing a. I think they're stabbing someone, and then a dude takes them down. He was a hero, and he's getting stabbed, and the cops just watch. So he sued. Takes it. It goes all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled the cops have no duty to protect you. The cops had no duty to step in and prevent the guy from stabbing the other guy.
Is charged with reckless endangerment and other serious felonies. He's originally from New Jersey, but appears currently to be homeless. He's now behind bars at the Transit Bureau 3 district headquarters, awaiting to be taken to central booking, which is his next stop, where he'll be formally charged. We're live in Washington Heights. I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News. Stephen, Natasha, back to you.
I wanted to pull that up just in case you don't believe me on that one, because I might have got the facts of the case wrong. Joseph Lozito was on his morning commute through New York City when he hopped on the subway, blissfully unaware of a brutal stabbing spree perpetrated by Maxim Gelman that had been going on for 24 hours at this point. Lozito would be the final victim in the stint after Gelman boarded the train and confronted the police officers that were in a secure area. He turned to Lozito and said, "You're going to die." What transpired afterwards was what Lozito described as what every man thinks about at least twice a day. No. Lozito tackled Gelman and they struggled physically, with Gelman stabbing Lozito in the head until they both hit the ground and Lozito disarmed Gelman. Only then did the NYPD officers intervene and apprehend Gelman. In this case, one of the cops allegedly admitted that he did not intervene in the altercation because he thought Gelman had a gun, instead hiding from the attacker. This prompted Lozito to sue the city of New York. He lost the case in 2013, but not because the Manhattan Supreme Court judge didn't believe him, or because he lacked evidence, or because the cops had a good reason for not intervening. Lozito lost because of a precedent established by the U.S. Supreme Court. The cops do not have a duty to protect you or anyone. So all those people in the subway saying, "Oh, we need more cops. We need more cops." For fucking what? First of all, I think the presence of more cops just makes everything more dangerous, because cops are sociopaths and psychopaths. Now, I will always preface this with, you have to be to do that job. You have to be callous to do that job. You have to not have feelings to do that job. The problem is we give them far too much leeway with very little oversight. And then most of the goddamn population considers them heroes, not, hired fucking killers, which they are. There's a whitewashing of police in this country where they're considered heroes and can do no wrong. And not sociopaths that need to be kept on a extremely tight leash. And beyond that, to those subway riders, crime is at historically low levels. You are safer now than any time in the history of this country. I would have been far more scared to ride the subway in the 70s in New York City. Just throwing that out there. You got to put things in perspective. Oh, you said, I see, Avalon. I see what you're doing there. The 40% number, I love this, because that 40% number is the cops self-reporting that they've been physical with their spouses. So the number actually has to be far higher. It has to be far higher than 40%. Wild pictures we have here as firefighters rescued a driver pinned after a tree was cut down and crushed their car. This was Hickson, Tennessee. Woman went to the hospital on Sunday evening in Hickson after firefighters said someone cut down a tree which fell onto her car. That's the middle of the road. According to the Chattanooga Fire Department, firefighters arrived at we don't need to. I try to skip over the addresses. I'm sorry. It was around 5:30. They found a mangled vehicle with a woman inside. According to CFD, bystanders had already removed the child unharmed from the vehicle before firefighters arrived. However, did the person cutting down the tree not realize which way it was going to fall? CFD said firefighters had to build cribbing, which the department described as a temporary wooden structure used to support heavy objects during operations like vehicle extrications and other rescue operations. Firefighters also used airbags to lift the tree, which allowed them to then remove the doors of the car to get the driver out. The situation left the woman with injuries to her lower extremities. The department said law enforcement is investigating the accident. We asked the fire department who was cutting down the tree, and they referred us to the Chattanooga Police Department. They reached out to CPD, but have not heard back yet. A tree that size you should not cut down yourself, especially next to a roadway. What do they call those? This company may have been out of business because I haven't seen one of their trucks for Asplunda. Don't they do like tree cutting services? Then again, I don't remember seeing one of their trucks in forever, and that may be a regional thing. Not everybody knows who the fuck they are. I've seen so many shitty tree companies. Also a good point, Torchy. Damn. As long as we're talking about cars and crazy accidents.
Police have confirmed the identity of a victim found deceased in a submerged vehicle on Sunday. Officials have confirmed the victim as Kevin Latai, who went missing out of Pennsylvania about a week ago. Latai was found in his vehicle, which was submerged under the ice of Cheat Lake. Law enforcement and dive teams extracted the car from the lake Sunday. Areas of I-68 were shut down for almost 3 hours to help with the operation. The dive team drilled into the ice to retrieve the car. They then needed to find the car underwater, hook cables to it amidst what we were told was debris under the area, and then bring the car up onto the bridge here. How the vehicle ended up submerged.
They said a week, right?
Police have confirmed the identity of a victim found deceased in a submerged vehicle on Sunday. Officials have confirmed the victim as Kevin Latai, who went missing out of Pennsylvania about a week ago. Latai was found in his vehicle, which was submerged under the ice of Cheat Lake. Law enforcement and dive teams extracted the car from the lake Sunday. Areas of I-68 were shut down for almost 3 hours to help with the operation. The dive team drilled into the ice to retrieve the car. They then needed to find the car underwater, hook cables to it amidst what we were told was debris under the area, and then bring the car up onto the bridge here. How the vehicle ended up submerged in the lake is still under investigation at this time. Deputies are asking for assistance from the public. Anyone with information, photos, or videos of the I-68 Cheat Lake Bridge on January 19th are encouraged to contact the Monongalia County Sheriff's Office.
Let's move on to weather, shall we? Let's do weather. Well, this is actually pretty feel good. After what? It's been about 3 weeks of the fires out in California. Palisades residents finally getting to return to their homes.
We begin today with that breaking news in Pacific Palisades, where residents are now being allowed back into their neighborhoods to see what is left of their properties. Let's go to Chris Christie live in Air 7 with our first look. Chris?
Yeah, that's right, Ellen. Just earlier this afternoon, the final evacuation orders have been lifted for the entire Pacific Palisades and Malibu. You can see here along the alphabet streets where folks are certainly starting to make their way into the neighborhood, sifting through rubble. They have a lot of protective gear that we are seeing. People are being precautious. You can see a couple of folks right here literally digging through ashes, looking for anything salvageable that they can possibly find before the massive efforts of recovering and rebuilding really get started here. But again, a lot of folks starting to get their first.
We're big fans of Chris Christie on this.
For the very first time, reporting
on this stream.
I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Not the former governor of New Jersey.
Thank you. The return bringing out a lot of emotions as people see the fire aftermath up close, and it's for the first time.
Eyewitness News reporter Ashley Mackey is live in Santa Monica, where residents have to check in before they can go home. Ashley?
Philip, Ellen, that's right. I'm here in Lot 3 where so many people are anxious and ready to see their home. For many, what's left of it. You can see behind me a line of cars, and it's been like this for hours. These are residents waiting to check in to receive access passes. Those are required. Escorts, though, are no longer needed. Residents should be mindful that curfew hours remain in place.
Hi, the left 2 lanes, ma'am.
Hundreds of Pacific Palisades residents line up along PCH and wait to be checked in for re-entry to their home. For many, this is the first time they're seeing their home since they had to evacuate due to the deadly and destructive Palisades fire.
Yeah, it's a lot to lose everything that you've collected, I think, over the last, your adult life and even your childhood. And so I wanted to go back. A lot of people told me there's no point going back. I don't think you're going to find anything. But I think just for my own personal reasons, to be able to just feel what it feels like and just be there and to see it in person is really important to me.
After waiting to check in here in Lot 3, which some say have taken at least an hour, residents must have their ID and address verified by police.
Chicken, fish?
And then they're directed to various services like Red Cross.
No, it's goat versus fish.
Some we've spoken with today are unhappy with the process and how long it's taken to get up to their homes.
You tell me the common sense of having us come all the way down here to show you an ID, to go all the way back to go in the Palisades. I've said enough. It sucks.
And although many residents know they'll be returning to nothing but ash and rubble, to be back home is enough.
Maybe one photo, maybe something to take away. Probably not, but better go and see it, right? Yeah. So there rains came, so if there was anything, I suspect it's probably washed down anyway.
Red Cross and the Department of Public Health are handing out PPE gear so that residents can protect themselves as they head back up to those resident-only zones. Contractors are allowed in the fire area, but they must also check in here at Lot 3 first and provide ID and proof that they've been hired by a resident.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Hey, Mark Brown.
Great AB.
Always enjoy seeing Mark Brown. The rain, both a blessing and a curse. The rain helping to douse some of the last of the fires, allowing residents to return, however, triggers fears of mudslides.
Extreme weather affecting millions of people across the Southwest. The wind and fire now replaced with snow and rain. But in areas recently devastated by wildfires, that heavy rain is triggering mudslides and toxic runoff. As ABC's Melissa Adan reports, some roads and highways have been shut down.
Roads covered in mud in Southern California, the same area hit earlier this month by those devastating wildfires.
Wow, it is coming down.
Areas around Los Angeles receiving 1/4 to an inch of rain over the weekend, the most rain the region has gotten in 9 months. Many roads along the Palisades fire burn scar now impassable and shut down as all that rain has pushed mud and rocks covering stretches of roads. Several drivers getting stuck, people seen trying to push cars to safety, crews working to get the muddy mess off the roadways.
So we brought in extra crews to help with the debris flow or the risk of flooding.
Wildfire survivors quickly ventured to see what's left of their homes before the heaviest of rains came in.
And it rained. If the photos survive the fire, then they get destroyed by water.
People in burn scar areas preparing with sandbags, fearing toxic runoff and debris that could come from the burnt homes.
If we have water damage, that just adds another situation on top of already what we're going through.
The wet weather bringing picturesque snow to the mountains. The snowfall, however, causing problems for part of Interstate 15 and the Cajon Pass in San Bernardino County due to low visibility from heavy snowfall. While crews are now cleaning up across Los Angeles, that much-needed rain and snowfall is now moving through the Southwest. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
It is very possible that there were several famous people that you saw. That was Palisades. That's the ritzy-ditzy part of California that got destroyed. The Altadena neighborhood that we were focusing on was like the working class neighborhood. So I would say that because the Palisades is where Mel Gibson and all the other rich fuckers lived. I don't even know who you're talking about, Torchy. I mean, I'd try if I could. I'm not a god. I guess this is a feel-good story.
So many families across Southern California are picking up the pieces after the deadly and destructive wildfires.
But amid the devastation and loss, there is some hope. Eyewitness News reporter Rob McMillan has one couple's heartwarming discovery and how it led to an unforgettable proposal.
Just like thousands of families now homeless after the devastating fires, Brian McShay and Stephanie Raynor of Altadena are sifting through the rubble. This was what their home looked like earlier this month. This is what it looks like today.
As soon as we walked up,
it
really hit us.
Nope, yeah, it's gone. Besides their pets, they say they lost everything. And for Brian, that included the engagement ring he'd just purchased. He was planning to propose to Stephanie soon, but the ring was left in the back of his now charred desk drawer.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking, well, maybe the stone should survive and maybe we'll find a little stone. I thought the ring was going to completely disintegrate.
So they started digging.
I was like, we're going to look over here where my desk is.
But you didn't tell her why.
I did not tell her why. I don't know what you thought we were looking for, because it was pretty obvious that a lot of my stuff was gone.
You have a lot of little gear. I don't know.
I have a lot of little things, yeah. And so we're digging around where my desk is, where you can see the desk frame. Again, just looking for a stone, man. I mean, I really didn't have a lot of hope. But I mean, you just brush away some rubble and there's a little ring and you pick that up and it's actually a washer to something, and that happens like 4 times. And then you pick it up and you pick up the thing and there's a little diamond, and I was on my knees and I was like, "Hey, will you marry me?" and I'm in complete PPE, zipped up with the white hood and everything.
I'm crying.
Yeah, she was crying.
Obviously, this only happening 2 days ago. They have not picked a wedding date yet. They do know they want to stay here in Altadena.
We're really hoping that Los Angeles can support Altadena in its rebuild efforts for the next couple of years, and that we're able to return, because this community is just so special.
Rob McMillan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Was it a feel-good story, or is it just grading on the curb? And the Troll Patrol is just a parade of horrors. Lenny, my friend, are you okay? Did you feel a shaking? Earlier today, a earthquake hit Massachusetts, a 3.8 magnitude. Oh, it was in Maine. Felt all the way to Massachusetts.
Some felt it, some did not. An earthquake off the coast of Maine shook areas of western Massachusetts this morning. I was one of the ones who did not feel it.
We didn't feel the other one either.
Yeah.
22 News reporter
True.
Jack Wu is...
Sir, I bet that's not the only time you've heard that in your life.
Live in studio with why we felt shaking from over 100 miles away, Jack.
I guess that didn't make sense, did it?
Did not feel the
I was trying to say you had a little dick.
Speaking is
That's probably mean of me.
Earthquakes, but certainly
I don't know that guy.
Mean that even small tremors can be felt over long distances. A 3.8 magnitude earthquake shook many areas of New England Monday morning. This is the second earthquake above a 3.5 felt in western Massachusetts since the New Jersey earthquake in April of 2024. I spoke with Alex Hayden with the U.S. Geological Survey. She explains why northeast earthquakes travel such far distances.
It's interesting. New England and the Northeast in general has a Earth's crust that is really cold and old, and the seismic waves can transmit really far distances through that crust.
A 3.8 magnitude earthquake is on the smaller end of the Richter scale, and even for people who may have felt it here in Massachusetts, it's not likely that there was any damage. While damage is either small or non-existent, earthquakes can still pose a danger to certain groups. Michelle Cook is a professor at UMass Amherst who studied one group of people that are more susceptible to injury during seismic activity.
The evidence suggests that deaf and hard of hearing people may take longer to take protective action, and we're concerned about how to reduce that time of taking protective action so that we can get people out of harm's way.
While we haven't seen an earthquake cause moderate damage since World War II, it's still important to be aware of your surroundings if you feel shaking. Some measures include protecting your head and staying away from older and taller buildings. I'm now joined by 22 News Storm Team meteorologist Brian Lapis. Brian, you and I were talking earlier. You said you did not feel the earthquake today, but your neighbors did. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, the local Facebook group, the neighborhood Facebook group, was lighting up. Was that an earthquake? Was that an earthquake? I was like, no idea.
And it's so funny that how different people can react even when you're down the street. We don't really think about it that often. Sometimes we think it's a truck passing by or even a little bit of wind.
Well, that was abrupt. They just cut him right off, didn't they? Did I just feel an earthquake? Avalon requested a police chase. You know I'm a man of the people. They're still getting back to normal in California, but we're not back to daily police chases yet. So I had to go to Walton County, Florida. This is Panama City, Florida. This happened overnight.
Eastbound. Jim, this one right here I've got on 98 that's pulling away from me. Grab that one, I'll get this other.
Ran a red light.
I'll have them for racing.
Shopping center is probably not the best place to go if you're running from the cops. Oh, he's straight ahead. I think he turned. Or they. We've seen a lot of women in chases lately. Statistically, it would usually be a guy, but... he at least came to a rolling stop for that stop sign. Does not have his lights on.
Screwed now, bro.
Did the cop say screwed now, bro? get it from a different angle here. That's not a pit maneuver. That was just a ramming into him. He was a fat thumb. Very antsy to point that gun, too. Sorry, it was a short one. I don't have a lot to choose from. Hopefully next week or two we'll be back to daily police chases out of California again. Cops are allowed to do pretty much whatever the fuck they want. It would seem. Here's a putt. Now, it is Live Music Monday. We're doing the band tonight. The last living member of the band died last week. We're doing the band tonight. Stick around for Live Music Monday if you're watching on Twitch. Here's your animal video. This is a puppy making a friend. This is by far the most wholesome thing we've watched on this show. Well, I don't know. We can go back to Barron Trump's song. And that puppy might be like trying to get a taste. Puppy might just eat that kitten. I love the kitten trying to boop him. The kitten's like, what have I done? If you are watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast, go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol, live.